Hello, everyone. My name is Majesty. I'm an Atlanta-based real estate developer with $13 million in assets under management and another 50 million in the pipeline. I build and rehab apartment buildings, so stick around for some investment tips. I'm doing a 100 question series on the most common 100 questions that I get as a property developer from people that are interested in what I do. And right now, I'm kind of doing a series within the series on public private partnerships, which is what I specialize in. Excuse me. And public private partnerships are basically where the government and the private sector come together to do a project. So that I'll kind of just go into that. But the question for today is, what role do incentives play in public private partnerships? And incentives are, I would say, the lifeblood of public private partnerships. Without incentives, it almost makes no sense to do a public private partnership because you have a lot of hoops that you have to jump through. And if it doesn't make dollars, then it doesn't make sense. And there's really no way around that. So incentives are basically these, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, so it's not Webster's dictionary or anything, but it's basically bonuses that the government provides the project so that it can be more feasible, more profitable, more beneficial. And these bonuses are not something that you can typically get. You have to be a government to even authorize these things. An example is a tax exemption. A lot of real estate developers work with municipalities to get a tax exemption on their projects, meaning that they don't have to pay. Sometimes it's not the whole amount, but property taxes, and sometimes it's for a specific period as well. So maybe I know Fulton County, which is in Atlanta, they offer a 10-year tax abatement depending on the project, where every year they increase it. They start at 50%, so you don't have to pay 50% taxes, and then every year it increases 5%. And at 10 years, you end up being back at 100% of your property tax. So you get a discount on your property taxes every year, and it steps up, and that discount disappears. So that's an example of an incentive. Another incentive is also bond financing, and that's where the actual government issues a bond that helps you get financing for your project. And the reason for this is that they can get capital, they can attract capital at a lower rate than you can because of their reputation as a government compared to you as a business. So you're kind of piggybacking on their reputation. When you go into an investor for your project, you say, hey, I need $20 million for this project, and I'm ABC company, they're going to scrutinize you differently than if you come to them and say, I need $20 million for this project. Well, me and the Fulton County needs $20 million for this project, and Fulton County standing behind it, and everything that they have as far as their resources. You get better rates, you get better terms, so that's essentially what an incentive is. As mentioned, without the incentives, it almost makes no sense to do public-private partnerships. I won't say all the time, because government contracts can just be profitable, by just doing business with them and being able to keep up that volume and have that, I won't say guaranteed business, but have that stream there available to, offer value to and to work with. But the incentives are what make it work. And what the incentives do, there's a few things they do. One is it reduces your risk. So I do affordable housing. There's a lot of risk in affordable housing because we're dealing with a very sensitive demographic, and you're also dealing typically with distressed areas. So it's not somewhere that you would just want to take your money and invest if you have the opportunity to invest there or invest in some, class A luxury place. You're going to want to put your money somewhere that's safer, that you think is going to be safer. So the incentives allow you to make the same returns, if not better returns, than if you invested in something luxury, by getting rid of the taxes. or by getting, very low cost capital, different things like that. So the incentives essentially lower the financial risk for the private companies, which basically increases the bottom line, or the profit that you can make on the project. And also, as I mentioned, it makes the projects more attractive to everyone, not just lenders, but you're stepping in the door almost as, I'm paraphrasing, but as an ambassador of the partnership. So you're almost an extension of that government entity. At least that's how they see it. Assuming that your project has been vetted and approved by that government, it's actually the case. They want you to be successful. So it's very helpful to work with governments in this way, and just having them on your team can be an incentive alone just to get buy-in from the necessary partners for your project. Um, it drives down cost, usually improves quality. People take things very serious when the government's involved. I'm sure you can imagine. So if they know it's a project where the government is involved, they tend to perform better. Just like if the government was in the building or watching whatever you're doing, people act differently when there's a cop driving behind them as opposed to when there isn't one. So you kind of get that. Um, Also, the incentives do come with, like, it's a give and a take. So you're not just getting these incentives. You have to do something. Like I said, I'm in affordable housing, so I have to create a product that benefits that demographic. So I can't just get an incentive and then go build. Well, it depends on how you structure it. But if I'm telling them I'm doing affordable housing, I need to create housing that benefits people in that demographic. And then that's how I activate the incentives. So it's a give and a take. It's a two-way street. Another benefit for the government is that we're creating jobs, typically in disadvantaged areas. We're providing housing, as mentioned. Um, Also, there's a lot of environmental considerations. With HUD, I believe every project that they do requires an environmental review by a third party that looks at the project and make sure that you're not disturbing the environment too much, and if you are, that you're taking the necessary precautions and means in order to make sure that it's not a detrimental result after you're done. So there's a give and a take there, but the incentives are amazing. The incentives can also go as far as being an outright grant, which is money given to a project that, assuming that you meet all your benchmarks and that you follow through, that doesn't have to be paid back. That can become equity in the project that you end up being able to realize, yourself. So I'll go back to the $20 million request. Let's just say 2 million of that is a grant. That's pretty amazing. As long as you do what you need to do at the end of the project period or the contract period, depending on how it's structured. That $2 million is in the project is equity, and if you own that project, that means that that $2 million went to your business's net worth. So that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, it's an asset. It becomes an asset. So, but like I said, it is a two-way street. There will be expectations for that. Typically, it evolves around housing, job creation. Something you got to give them a win, something they can take back to the community and say, look at what we did, our partnership, and we gave them this so that they could do this, and it turned out great for everyone. So um, the incentives also help when it comes to faster project delivery. In a sense, and that's why it's called incentive. It incentivizes you to act a certain way, to perform a certain way. A lot of times that will come with a timeline or with milestones or with a schedule that you commit to. And the incentives also carry out over time, like the tax abatement. So to get to the incentives, you typically have to finish or reach some milestones. So that definitely helps out. And then the project ends up benefiting the public. So public-private partnerships should be called, win-win-win situations as well, looked at as that, because the government wins by getting the project done that they wanted to get done, that's within whatever strategic plan they have. The private company gets to, do business with a very large customer who will most likely have more business, who has deep pockets, has, a lot of resources. And the community also benefits because now you have something that has been created that will benefit the community at large. So everybody, hopefully at the end of it is happy. So the incentives are, everything when it comes to it, public-private partnerships. So that's something that you want to look at. And there's a lot of incentives out there. There's billions. I wouldn't be surprised if it's trillions, but I know for sure there's billions of incentives out there for public-private partnerships. And I always suggest people try to tap into, those types of channels for business and for, building relationships, because it really can be the difference between, your company skyrocketing and taking off. As long as you can operate in that space and follow through on what it is that you say that you do, it's a beautiful relationship. So with that said, yeah, I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, ask any questions that you can think of, and just, I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you. Bye.